I think what's new now is periodization of eating that is I think becoming very interesting for many coaches and athletes around the world. I think for wrestlers it is particularly important to be able to adjust the composition of their diets according to their macro, meso, and micro cycles. Weight control is critical for wrestlers, while maximizing strength, and these are often mutually exclusive processes. Reduction of weight results in reduced strength. We discussed with Jet quite a lot of different scenarios of how wrestlers try to reduce their weight while maintaining strength. One of the most perhaps healthy and systematic ways of doing it is, for example, in an annual cycle, you at the end of the season, let's say if you compete from fall through the winter and spring to some of the summer, you have the end of the summer off, and you have, let's say, August off, and you have 1 or 2 months of post season. This is the best time to reduce your caloric intake and reduce weight. One way of doing it is to stop eating meat and focus on vegetarian types of dieting. But there are results of some of research that's published that indicate that after a month of vegetarian diet, wrestlers start losing strength. Okay, it's healthy, but you still are losing your strength after a month of reducing calories and eating no meat or minimum meat, and shouldn't be done for 1.5 months. That's about a maximum kind of a weight reduction program. But there are many other ways of doing it. The shorter term, the more stressful and more rapid kind of a weight loss program is probably less, it's more stressful for the body, less healthy. So what I discussed, what I indicated as a 1 month, 1.5 months is perhaps one of the healthiest way of controlling weight without losing strength. And another important factor is, I think one of the critical factors is seasonal periodization of food that is as important for wrestlers as it is important for everyone. That during the winter you eat different food. In the summer you eat food that cools you, cucumbers, different kind of water and cooling foods. In the winter you eat more of a warming food, ginger and all types of warming substances. So these are the two perhaps the most important periodization to lose weight, leading to competitions, and your periodization food to stay to prevent illnesses, and when you get sick, recover quickly from your virus, recover quickly. And there are a lot of very this is a big picture, but there are also macro kind of small tricks that wrestlers use, like basically as soon as you get sick you eat whole onion and another one and constantly eating things like garlic, lemon, honey, and other bioactive substances is important. And I think we also want to discuss some probiotic and prebiotic foods today. So let's not forget to talk about it, Jed. So these are the key most important things that I wanted to outline, that I think are current trends that are kind of fringe.
You know, and I want to touch base on a little bit on just some safe weight cutting strategies that I think are important, that maybe wrestlers should understand, and even all athletes or anybody in general. But you know, one of the earliest diets that we can look at, and there's research that came out a couple years on a diet that people have stayed the leanest on throughout the years, is the simple concept of, before you eat anything, drinking 2 large dinner glasses of water. 2 dinner glasses of water. It takes up space in your gut, in your stomach, so you don't eat as much. Athletes are typically in a dehydrated state anyways because they're training so hard. So increasing your water intake is a very simple concept that, again, before any time that the individual eats, 2 dinner glasses of water. They've done studies more than any type of diet, which is really not a diet, it's just a lifestyle. That has been more successful than anything that someone can do, and they stay leaner. The people who do that are leaner than the people who don't. You just simply aren't going to eat as much calories. You're not going to take in as many calories. And anything that you do, if an athlete like a wrestler were to take a calendar and mark off, 21 days, some people say, a month of every single day, every single meal, I just check, it will become a habit. And then the chances are the rest of your life, you would drink those 2 dinner glasses of water before, and then you become more healthy, because we need more water. And like I said, I'm one that has suffered from being dehydrated multiple times and done harm to myself. The injury rates and things like that, and so for a wrestler that might be very important. Another simple concept that an athlete or anyone could do. Yeah, go ahead. Add to this.
To the liquid, in addition to the water, before this, maybe sometime before, not just prior, not just when you start eating, but maybe half an hour before, drink a lot of water and liquid. But having soup for lunch is a tradition that is very good and in line with this concept. You start with warm water based meal that it may have fat, but this fat is in warm water, so you are getting a lot of liquid. You're getting, first of all, you're getting hydrated, and you digest the fat and the nutrients that are in the vegetables that are in the soup also much better. And your meal starts, when your meal starts with a soup, you can have salad and meat, and but it's in line with this concept of starting with liquid. So that's
absolutely. Yeah, no, we've talked about that before. And not only that, you know what, and I've got more that I want to touch on, but since we're talking about the soups, how about, because of the demands of the weight cutting and the weight loss, how about strengthening the immune system with certain types of soups while these athletes are in a depleted state? and we've talked about this in the past, and maybe touch base a little bit on, make some recommendations on simple soups that can help build, and even teas, soups and teas that can help, that's nutrition to build the immune system. Now, you're talking about wrestling being a winter sport, immune functions down. Maybe touch base a little bit on that, because I think there's some power there too.
Chicken soup is now scientifically proven as one of the best fighters.
Chicken soup?
Chicken soup, yes.
Not chicken noodle, just chicken.
Well, there are different varieties. The most important thing that you have chicken in chicken broth. Everything else is debatable, but there is absolute there is scientific evidence now. Mechanisms are still not explained completely. They're not debatable, but the result is now proven. So chicken soup, of course, you any kind of meat broth and with cabbage is probably the most immune strengthening in terms of prevention, and when you're sick, helps to recover quicker. Because meat with cabbage is a very good combination. Cabbage helps to digest fat and nutrients in the meat easier, and soup helps you to digest quicker and easier everything that's in the meat and in the vegetables, and they also cross promote each other. When there is a soup that uses sauerkraut,
Sauerkraut, the probiotics.
Fermented cabbage, and mixed up with meat and as in warm liquid. Obviously, you have a very good combination of immune strengthening substances. It is ideal to have every day of the week to have a different soup that is like a chicken soup, some broth with cabbage, meat broth with cabbage, and just different meat. Let's say you have one day you have chicken soup, another on Monday, Tuesday you have beef, Wednesday you have veal or some other type of meat. One day or 2 days a week you have a fish day, and you might have more than one. So fish soup, soup with miso soup and some fish with this. So this is this immune strengthening soups and of course garlic and onion and ginger are perhaps the most important additions to the soup that are help to find the maximum spectrum of infections and help to and they are prebiotics. So you need to eat probiotics meaning the actual substances that help to fight bacteria in your digestive system, which is 70% of your immune system. By some studies claim that 70% of your immune system strength is in your lower digestive system. So you need probiotics to stay there, and the best probiotic is kefir. Out of all yogurts, kefir has the largest number of good bacteria. But you also need to have a home, to have an environment for this probiotic.
What was that yogurt that you said?
Kefir, 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 comes from the ancient Caucasus and the word of kaif, which is good feeling. It leaves you with very good feeling if you drink it every night. And the best combination.
It's a drink.
It's a drink. It's just like a plain yogurt. If you look at list of bacteria in yogurts, There are long lists of bacteria that is included in different yogurts. Plain yogurts like Greek yogurt, Bulgarian, Balkan yogurts are some of the most kind of
So yogurt is a very high probiotic.
yeah, it's one of the best probiotics, and among them, the cousin of the yogurt that's traditional in the Western world is kefir, which has the largest number of good bacteria. So that's probiotic. Prebiotic is what helps these good bacteria to develop. And apples,
You can take a
for
peek right
example.
there. Hold on,
Apples
Peter.
are the
My kids just got home from school. Where here's Autumn. She's gonna say hi. Come over and say hi to Peter quick. Give him a smile.
Hi.
Oh, so big. Wow. You look like your mom now. How you
Well,
doing?
are you gonna go play with anybody? If you-
Mom said we had to do chores, but
Well, do chores.
we did the chores at school.
Okay, well, bring me a walkie-talkie if you're going to go anywhere. Okay, you're gonna go to one of your friends up the street. She'll give you a walkie-talkie.
Riley said we had to wait a little.
Okay, wait a little bit and then we'll do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So give a maybe a few more probiotics that think about the American wrestler going to a grocery store that might be easy for them to pick up, so that are good.
I think
Even if they
it's
could put in soup, and mix in with soup.
yeah, I think it's very important to develop your own list, and every athlete should be trying to find probiotics and prebiotics that go together, that go.
A prebiotic and a probiotic that go together.
Yeah.
So
And
let's get like a top 5 or 6 of each category, and we'll kind of write it down, and then for the article.
I will email this.
Perfect.
But I think it's very, very individual, and everybody must be trying to determine what they like.
Yeah, what their stomach can handle. No, this is important. Anything in nutrition with an athlete, you're 100% right. I mean, as Dr. Susan Kleiner talks about that all the time. It's not that this is the best. It's, can you handle it? Can you perform with it? Does your stomach take it? Do you feel good with it? And that's for athletes, absolutely, 100%.
And I know that some of them, every good athlete, they spend a lot of time researching what probiotics are there now, what probiotics are there for their personal peculiarities, for their personal objectives and purposes. Then trying them, see what they like, how they like the taste, how they like how the system digests it, and then, because there are hundreds of them, hundreds of probiotics, hundreds of prebiotics. I think here we need to highlight to say, okay, for me, say kefir with apple is the best combination of probiotics and prebiotic. But then leave it for everybody to look for their own hundreds of probiotics that are there, and hundreds of prebiotics that are there. Different fruits, different
Fermented
fruits,
foods,
different vegetables work as prebiotics and probiotics, and you will be surprised to find foods that you might just like. They turn to be probiotic or prebiotic, and you couldn't guess that they are. So
this is a good segue, Peter, into the next point I was going to make. So, step one, I think in safe weight cutting strategies is drinking more water and before you eat. Step two, with the prebiotics, you can look at, it's okay. The athlete should look at eating as much fruits or vegetables as they can and next in their meal, because now you get the, you know, the micronutrients, the vitamins. These athletes are running around deficient in micronutrients anyways because of all the training. So replenishing water, and there's low calories, no calories in the fruits and vegetables. So they're filling their stomach, they're trying to cut weight, and now the calories they're bringing in are such low, and they're filling their stomach with this. So it's not going to be high calories, and it's going to be beneficial for injury prevention, for energy, so forth. So, I mean, another good practice if they were taking a calendar and then, you know, 21 days, all my meals, I make sure I'm drinking 2 large glasses of water. I have lots of fruits and vegetables to get the micronutrients, the prebiotics to help so that my muscle function and then contraction is good. You know, so I think this is an important component that goes along with what you're saying there.
In terms of, there is a very good concept by Kelder that goes along with starting with water, then continuing with, see, water is the quickest to digest. So it basically goes through your system. Nothing goes quicker than the water. Then after this, consider eating fruits, vegetables, then something like beans and a little bit more heavier food, and then only towards the end you eat meat and nuts that are harder to digest.
Can I just break in here? I just want to make sure I'm hearing this right. So you're saying the order in which you eat matters,
Yeah.
correct?
The order in which you,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to make
It's
sure.
very important kind of new thing in the past 50 years, I think. We have not eaten in past 100, 200 years properly in that sense. We've been drinking at the end of our meal, which now we see should be done before our meal. We were eating fruits as a dessert, which now we know more and more is better to eat before you eat heavier foods. So the lightest foods first, the heaviest foods last is a good concept because for two reasons. One is that, as Jed said, you eat low calorie food first, and you might not get to the heavy food that as much. But second, your digestion. When you eat light food first, it digests and goes through the system fast. If you first eat meat and then put vegetables and fruits on the top and the water on the top, your stomach is digesting the meat for a long time. That's when your vegetables and fruits get rotten in your stomach, waiting for to be digested, and that's when they don't get digested. Your stomach puts stomach acid goes to digest the meat and the hard, like nuts and the meat, and the food that's light, like fruits, they do not get digested quickly. So the recommended order is the easiest to the hardest in terms of digestion efforts for your stomach.
And then as far as proteins go, later on in the meal, Autumn, you got your walkie-talkie. Thank you. So if you want to have cleaner proteins, you think about it. Just a simple little rule that's easy for athletes to remember is if it has no legs, it's the cleanest. Your seafood, certain types of seafood are obviously better with the, lacking the heavy metals. But if it has 2 legs, would be the next, your poultries, and then 4 legs. So, seafood with omega-3 fatty acids and whatnot can definitely benefit the athlete, mental performance, and so forth as well. Peter, do you have any advice on that, on the proteins? Is that something that you've kind of had as a rule as well?
Yes, well, we all know the proportion of proteins, carbohydrates, fats. We know the types that must be included. We think that each meal must have some of it. We also try to balance so that you consistently receive them during the day. The proportion is changing based on the sport, based on the periodization goals.
And as far as carbohydrates, in your meals, I would say obviously more multi-grain. The more grains, the better. And the more fiber that you can take in, the better, because fiber will create more bowel movements and move the food through your intestines, and so things don't coagulate. So you want to move the food more. The more bowel movements, the better for the athlete. Then I would say the carbohydrates, nutrient timed around the exercise is the most important. So carbohydrates prior for energy. At a bare minimum, an athlete needs to have, to prevent, potential for injury, like a Gatorade or something before if they're trying to keep things light. I mean, they have to have some type of carbohydrate, or when they're trying to do movement cuts, things like that, they're not gonna have the energy for the contractions, and things can happen. So
I think a very good important thing and kind of a safety thing for wrestlers is the variety of food. It sounds obvious, sounds trivial, but paradoxically, with our freedom to get anything we want, with our freedom to prepare our food now, we are often we get less variety, and because we choose our food now more, we limit ourselves to what we like, as opposed to eating what's needed. 20, 30, 40 years ago, I think in many countries, coaches had a lot more to say. And when you go for a meal together, and when you have a camp meal, coaches watch what you eat, and they ensure that the variety. Now, when many of us eat separately, eat more individually, we tend to choose what we like instead of what's needed, and we often buy things that we think is different. But marketing of food became really, I'd say, immoral. When you look at the shelves of cereals, and you have so many colors and flavors of pretty much the same thing that has very little nutrients in it, and that's the case with many other foods that we are being duped by marketers. And I think it's very important for us to try and force ourselves to eat something different every day, and try to force ourselves to introduce new things into our diet, so that you have full variety of macronutrients and micronutrients, and different types of all different types of vitamins and probiotics, prebiotics, and immune strengthening substances. So it takes an effort. It's a lot of work.
Mhm.
But I think it's very important for wrestlers, especially as they're cutting weight. Many of them tend to eat the same thing every day. So that's a very important thing to try and change, to try and look for new, or at least schedule something. Monday, Wednesday, Friday might have the same thing that you like, but say Tuesday, Thursday.
And I think that that's
You try something new and different, something like this.
yeah, and that's something that's gonna have. They're gonna have to make a. They're gonna have some intentionality behind that. That's not something that that can just happen. They have to be mindful. They have to have the intention of creating a variety in their diet. That's something that has to be planned. Like you said, it's going to be work. That's not going to be easy. But what you're getting at is with variety, you're going to have a lot more micronutrients, macronutrients that are coming from a variety, the probiotics, the prebiotics, and I think that's important. And talking about the micronutrients, a lot of them are deficient in that, and it takes work through the variety of foods. But there was some interesting research we talk about in our book out of Germany on with elite world-class soccer players and the supplementation of just vitamins and the reduction of non-external force related injuries, meaning those injuries that just happen and you don't know why. There was no force that caused it that was outside besides you doing a normal movement that you do in your sport, and all of a sudden I get injured. Well, they found a great reduction in athletes in those non-external force related injuries because of supplementing with multivitamin. So you supplement with vitamins, it does benefit because a lot of these athletes struggle to get all those micronutrients in the variety of diet that you're talking about. So a simple way that an athlete can help bring their help reduce their injury rate is, and especially these wrestlers, I would say that because they are cutting their caloric intake, they are reducing. I think that a simple multivitamin is a very cheap, effective way to do it, and there are better, more pharmaceutical grade vitamin companies out there that are higher level. But for the most part, yeah, just supplementing with multivitamin can benefit these guys.
Yeah, and I think fermented foods is something relatively new to the athletic world in the West, as a very important new component that is now being paid attention more for both probiotic and prebiotic foods. So when one simple recipe that I mentioned that is probiotic prebiotic thing is you mix lemon, just chop lemon with garlic and honey,
and I've done this, Peter.
Shake it in the mixer.
It's not going to be the most popular taste, I can tell you that, but it does work.
Yeah. You can keep it in a room temperature for a day or so to ferment a little bit.
I mean, honey and lemon sounds good, but the garlic doesn't sound good.
Yeah, well, that's you're asking for the most. What are the most important probiotic prebiotic combinations?
With garlic.
Garlic with lemon with honey, juices like and that's for now with COVID-19. These have been reported as the most as the best fighting COVID fighting substances: pomegranate juice, green tea, and some other substance high in vitamin C and immune strengthening qualities. So cabbage, fermented cabbage, is paradoxically, as from what I know, has the highest proportion of vitamin C. Fermented cabbage, but also Korean type foods that are done with with vinegar. Are very important for immune strengthening and high energy. So it's not only fermented food, but also salted and fresh food. We eat more and more of sushi and sashimi, which is raw fish. This is perhaps one of the most immune strengthening substances. You do not destroy any nutrients and vitamins that are in it. You eat it raw. That's the main thing. When you put salt on it and keep it fermented, you have new elements appearing in this food, in addition to your it might be even more effective than fresh food, like salted fish, not cooked, not smoked, but just salted and therefore fermented. So caviar, it's a bit expensive, but salmon caviar is probably one of the high energy, and immune strengthening foods. A lot of salted fish and salted meat, and one of the most traditional Eastern European foods that's coming back is fat, salted pig fat that is salted. It kept for a long time fermented with salt. So it's basically fresh pig fat salted for a long time, for months, and as a result you have very high energy. It was accused in being bad cholesterol. Now we learn butter and pig fat are not bad for you. It's again, it's if you combine it with cabbage and with other vegetables and with other foods, with garlic, with other foods that help to digest this fat and break it down and turn it into energy quickly. That's what wrestlers and many others. I mean, that's what we need during the times of illness.
So one of the things I want to add to here is just the nutrient timing around the workout, the training, because they're going to train so many hours. The majority of the time they're training, little time in competition, but that will help their metabolism to change their body composition over time and help them become leaner. Is, again, like I said, the carbohydrate dose prior to training to give them the energy reduces the injury rate. And immediately after they're done training, carbohydrate and protein combination to help repair the muscle tissue and recover fast so that they can come back for their next exercise bout. And that there's a 4-hour window. They call it the anabolic window. 4 hours, your metabolism is spiked after hard training. Metabolism is high. During that time, the calories that you take in are going to be different than later on in the day because my metabolism is high. So I burn body fat. I burn because I'm ingesting food, my insulin levels up, and the carbohydrates that I take in and ingest, protein goes to repair my tissue, and I will be leaner the 4 hours. So immediately after, I need to put something else in. I have to put my carbohydrate and protein, either food, or it could simply be a recovery drink. Recovery drinks, so many of them, but essentially they just consist of a carbohydrate and a protein and some vitamins. And put that in, the vitamin C, E, these are in the recovery drinks. Boom,
Yeah.
right away. So there's multiple drinks. I talked about Vitargo in an article previously. Vitargo with whey protein, very clean carbohydrate, fast digesting with a clean whey protein. This will help that athlete repair, recover, feel fresh, feel good energy, because it'll keep the metabolism high. And then that's when I would snack. So if I could take in a drink immediately after, shower, whatever, maybe I might do some recovery. I come back an hour after training, I have good healthy food. So immediately after I'm done, something should be put in. Maybe an hour later, have a good meal. Maybe 2 hours later, have another snack. But that's all in that 4 hour window. 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. But once that window closes, it's different because the metabolism is lowered. So bringing in the carbohydrates, the best time is in that 4 hour window post exercise. And then later in the day, good vitamins with the fruits, the vegetables, good quality protein, multi-grain for the carbs, keeping that kind of clean throughout the day. One of the things I would say too is a wrestler is going to bring their calories down. Okay, they're gonna lower their caloric intake below what their expenditure, below what they're doing, because if they're cutting weight. So this, you need to be very careful, and gradualism, like we spoke about before, should be applied. So like the first week, a deficit of 300 calories per day of what their normal expenditure was. The second week, 350, and then probably they say, there's some have said don't go below 400 calories per day as a deficit, or you will reduce your strength levels. So it'll be detrimental to your strength. So, but you don't want to start at 400. You want to gradually get there. So slowly, if as you're reducing, 1 week, the next week, and the next week. Your thoughts on that, Peter?
Yeah, and last time we talked about compounding exercises, efficiency, to get the same concept works for food. The most, in terms of drinks, compounding drinks with mineral water that has high level of different minerals and salts, and baking soda is very fashionable now to have to play with pH levels, to have I even read some research results saying that COVID doesn't like the acid environment in the stomach, doesn't like baking soda, therefore that reduces acidic levels. So mineral water mixed with juices and other recovery drinks, it's a natural way that is very well ignored still, but in many countries it is a tradition to drink not just water but mineral water, natural natural spring and mineral water that already has some important salts and minerals that you must restore after you've been sweating and training.
That's a great concept. So compounding, mixing mineral water with a recovery drink. That's outstanding. So you think about that. You're going to drink, you can mix up your recovery drink with water, which you're going to do anyways. So if it's a carbohydrate, like a Vitargo or a Gatorade mixed with whey protein, but if you use mineral water, now you're getting the minerals and salts that your body needs as well. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
And or even juices on top of that for the
and using soda water, natural soda water. We know that athletes are playing with baking soda a lot. They say some put a spoon in a glass, some put more. It might not be very good for your stomach. You need to experiment with this, but start with natural soda water is the best way, and use mineral water with high proportion of soda water is very important. Now the best, I think, the most one of the best and the most compounded foods in terms of energy and full body training is your soup that has carbohydrates, proteins, everything in it. If you have meat or beans and vegetables in it, and you have warm water, so that's the best compounded food. If you eat just soup, vegetable and meat soup, that's one of the best examples of compounding in one meal, compounding everything. There is a very good Chinese way of cooking soup when you have a boiled meat, but then you put vegetables at the very end, so you don't really boil them. You put them in the hot water at the very end, and they're almost fresh. But there is also Eastern European way of cooking borscht and other soups that stay there for a long time, and you cook various roots like the beetroot and other and potato that requires a bit more cooking, and onion and so forth. But again, the compounding your food is very important. Your night shake, milkshake, or should be, for example, some yogurt, plain yogurt like goat yogurt or sheep yogurt, not only cow yogurt, but different types of yogurts. Throw it in, you can put garlic and lemon and honey in it. You can put parsley and other greens in it. You can put avocado and banana in it, and that's compounding it and giving your stomach a very concentrated but still easily digested mix shake like this. Is one example of compounding and providing very good, very well balanced probiotic, prebiotic, high energy and recovery meal at the end of the day. So, yeah.
I was going to say I'll give one final strategy. I think that is an important one that athletes need to think about, a wrestler needs to think about, is spreading your calories, also breaking up into multiple meals, same amount of calories. If I did, the simple concept of the thermogenesis, the idea that when you eat food, your metabolism spikes up anytime I eat. If I'm sitting here right now, it'd be like a car that's in maybe third gear that has 6 gears. If I'm sleeping, I'm in first gear. if I'm maybe I'm sitting here, second gear, third gear I'm walking, fourth gear I'm jogging. It goes up, right? Well, eating is actually more than sitting. When I eat, my intestines, I have to digest food, and so I go up. I burn more calories. So the simple concept of taking the food and eating small meals throughout the day, spread out, my energy stays higher. I can concentrate better. I get to I don't have the peaks and valleys in my energy levels because I'm fueling like an IV, like it's an IV hooked up in segments throughout the day. So if I take the calories instead of, sometimes these individuals eat 1 or 2 meals and they have a lot of calories, the excess doesn't get utilized and can store as body fat. If I do small meals, I can I have better energy and I actually can burn body fat with the what's called just the thermogenic effect. So I don't know if that's something that you practice, Peter, but it's something that can work.
Yeah, and we all should be trying and finding our own individual way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like we talked about eating food in order of digestion, kind of how hard it is to digest it. Then there is also separating food. What you're talking about goes along with the concept of separating food when you might drink some water, half an hour or an hour later, you eat some fruit. Half an hour or an hour or 2 hours later, you eat some more protein food, like vegetables and meat, also soup. Then 2 hours later, you eat something else. But you are separating throughout this. If you eat in small portions more than 4 times a day, you have this opportunity to try this separation and see if that's gonna give you the effect that you're looking for. But I think the bottom line and probably the most important advice to everyone is that you need to experiment and find your optimal individualized way of achieving your training and weight and health objectives.